Hello folks, this is Raj Sastri from Raj Option Trading. Today I want to talk about stock market recap for last week. Today is March 20th, 2021. So with that, last week gold stocks are generally trading higher. Home builders are doing pretty okay. Bitcoin stocks are trading higher. Biotechs are also doing well. And from a downer perspective, oil and energy stocks are down, solar stocks are down, retail stocks are down, technology and cloud stocks are taking a breather. And we'll go into these in a little more details. Just a quick snapshot of what's trading up and what's trading down last week. So with that, let's jump into bigger market picture last week. So as you can see here, S&P 500, which is slash ES, S&P 500 is kind of trading lower last 2 days of the week. Generally, it traded up. Now it's the rotation, trading lower a little bit. And same story with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, traded down last 2 days. And Nasdaq, last on Friday it traded up a little bit because generally it looks like there is some rotation into tech a little bit. And Russell 2000, which is smaller cap stocks, generally they were down for the week, but they were up last Friday itself. So generally down for the week. And bonds, this is a main thing. Bonds are down, as you can see here. Bonds are down for the week. That's kind of that's generally that should help the stock market, but last week that did not help too much. Both stocks are down as well as bonds are down last week for most part. And this is again ZN. It's again bond which is down. Energy, for most part, it took a big dip on Thursday. Tried to make a small comeback on Friday. And gold is generally last 2 days it traded up. So looks like gold is gaining some strength here. And dollar itself is kind of flat line here, not doing much. So with that, let's jump into a little more details. This is big ETFs or exchange traded funds. Kind of gives a similar picture here when it comes to stock. ETFs, bigger stock ETFs, SPY, S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, IWM, all are down for the week, as you can see here. And Treasury itself, TLT, Treasury itself, I think it's trying to make a small comeback, as you can see here, but generally down for the week. And gold itself is kind of flatlining, like we talked about earlier. XLP, consumer staples, it's kind of down in last, I think Friday tried to make a small comeback here. And same is the story with the XLU, which is utilities. Technology clearly down on Thursday and Friday. Semiconductors, SMH is generally down, but they had a little bit strength on Friday itself. XAR, which is all these defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Northrop, Raytheon, they're also generally trading down for the week, but try to get some strength. They got a little bit of positive strength on Friday. And XLE Energy itself is down for the week. A little bit pockets of strength on Thursday and Friday, but generally down for the week. Retail, again, a little bit down for the week. And same story with IYR, which is, basically retail stocks. I mean, real estate stocks, they're a little bit down for the week. And same story with financials, including fintech, financials, they're a little bit down for the week itself. And big industrials are kind of flatlining to down. So generally stocks are kind of taking a breather for most part. So with that, let's jump into relationship between S&P 500, SKEW, and the VIX. As you can see here, S&P 500 itself, this is a 5-year chart. As you can see here, S&P 500 itself, as you can see here, kind of down for the week, kind of came down a little bit. One thing I always watch very closely is skew. Skew itself, as you can see here, it's at the 139. I always give a close attention here. The moment it crosses 145, that's a clearly a danger signal. Basically, big money will start dumping stocks. So it's kind of nearing that area here. Right now, I think probably we don't need to be alarmed because it came down a little bit. But the moment it crosses 140, I would watch out, be very careful. Even now, with the S&P 500 at stone throw away from 52-week high or all-time high, we got to trade a little bit carefully and but be selective. Don't buy stocks that are flying too high, and be selective. Look for a little bit strength and a little bit margin of safety as you buy. VIX itself, as you can see here, kind of flatlining or a little bit down. So VIX is not an issue at this point. VIX is down. That's kind of giving some breather to stock market, which is kind of going a little bit down last week. But generally with VIX, I think VIX started to show a small tick up, but it's not a not a huge deal at all. With that, let's look at bond here. Clearly, bond itself, the treasury, it's coming down a little bit. Basically, folks are it's risk on because bonds are down. Stocks are up. Basically, folks are buying stocks and selling bonds for most part. That's why bonds are down, and because bonds are down, the the 10-year treasury itself, the yield is rising up. So it's a general phenomenon. As bonds come down, yields go up. Not a big deal. And there is also some news about probably inflation might tick up with all this government giving money to everybody, the whole COVID relief fund. So some of those fears are also there. So that's why the yield is going up a little bit. And also if DXY itself, it's kind of flatlining. It's not an event. This is basically the dollar itself. Dollar itself is not a huge deal at this point, kind of flatlining. So it's not a factor at this point. So with that, let's look at major trends. Typically I look at ETFs, scan through them to see what's the major trend. So if you see here, these are the winners from a ETF perspective, exchange traded fund perspective for the last week. The way this chart is organized is really we have weekly performance. It's really descending order. The one on top has got high performance on a weekly basis, and from there onwards it's a descending order. So if you scan through this very quickly, we got gold performing pretty well last week, followed by home builders. Then we got blockchain and crypto here doing pretty well. Brazil is doing okay too, and Japan, uranium. And then we got home builders, same story. Semiconductors, which is also doing pretty good last week. Albeit 1.64%. So you get the idea. Basically, folks folks are going towards some of these ETFs or stocks last week. And as you see here, some of these gold as an example, it's down for the down. It's a 52-week. It's 26% down from 52-week high. So even though it's up 88%, but it's down 26% from 52-week high. So it has some more room to run, I would think. So not a big deal. So with that, let's go into the losers here from ETF losers. Clearly, oil and energy. They're a little bit losers, and even the clean energy or the green energy, as you call it, that's also down for the week, 8% down. And solar, one of the favorites, it's also down last week, 7% down. And big energy is also down. Think ExxonMobil, Chevron, some of these bigger companies. And generally, as you scan through this, mainly oil is down, mining is kind of down here, and you get the idea. So generally you can look at this, and also if you see here, the small cap Russell is down, and we also have got Cathude's, ARC next generation internet ETF, and some of the cloud names. Cloud ETF is also down. So bigger picture, you get the idea. People are kind of trying to go into some of these safer stocks like home builder, gold, and they're trying to get away from energy and high tech technologies. Some of these stocks. So with that, let's go at look at the weekly winners and losers. For this, I kind of generally took the mid cap names because small caps are too wild these days. If you look at this weekly winners here, we got a new startup called Upstart Holdings. These guys are into artificial intelligence based credit risk assessment, and these guys kind of work with all the bank and help them with all the risk assessment as they give out loans. So this company did very well. Just a brand new IPO, but almost doubled right out of the gate. So I would watch out. I would not buy at this point. I would probably wait for this to cool off. But if you want to nibble one or two shares, it could be okay. But generally, good to wait a little bit, for a down day. Then we got other stocks here, Cloopen, Vericel, all these, even AMC for that matter, all these, stocks kind of came down. Went up. And as you go into the down weekly loser section, we got some of these stocks like MediaAlpha, Kymera, Canaan, which is a Bitcoin play, Maxar, which is into Earth intelligence. Some of these stocks, came down, including C3.ai, which is into artificial intelligence and big data. We'll go through this in a little more details. I want to give a quick glimpse of what went up and what went down on a weekly basis last week. Now let's go into a little more details. For that, let's go by sector, starting with the small cap. If you look at small cap itself, these are the 25 weekly winners. The way this chart is organized is we got the ticker symbols here, we got price, market cap, and this is organized by the weekly performance right here on a descending order. The one on top, Kung Art, it's a 625% on a weekly basis, which is a huge performance. And from there onwards is a descending order, as you can see it here. And we got also monthly performance, quarterly performance, half year, and whatnot. And if you scan through this list here, I would draw your attention to a couple of areas. One is this TCAT here, Takung Art Co. Even though stock shot up so much, insiders sold the shares 34%. As you can see here, it's an insider transaction. And they got a negative 33% past 5-year sales growth. They got a good gross margin, and price to sales ratio is a little bit high. So with that, I would not buy this company at this point. I would wait, because that's a huge monthly, weekly performance. And also, if you look at the yearly performance, it's a huge 2,090% yearly performance. So you got to watch out a little bit to buy, probably buy on a dip. And same story if you look at Rubius, Therapeutics, did very well. On a weekly basis, it did 54%. It's a little bit off of its 52-week high, but still there is a the float short ratio, high short ratio here 10%. And insiders are buying it. That's a little better sign here. If the insiders are buying it despite of a little bit higher short ratio, typically these shorts will get squeezed. So there is a chance that this stock here, Ruby, might go up because insiders are buying it. That will make these shorts to have some short squeeze. Now let's look at Vuzix Corporation, Vuzix. So this stock again, $28 stock, not a huge amount, huge stock short ratio here, And good thing is insiders are buying it. So as you can imagine, this can cause short squeeze. And apparently that's what is happening right now. On a weekly basis, stock is up 30%. And they're also up very nicely for the year also. And one thing with this is really this stock here, VUZI, they have a high price to sales ratio that tells me this stock is already pricey from a valuation perspective. We got to watch out, and they got a negative gross margin. So I would be a little bit careful here. If you want to, just quick trade in and out, you could buy some, expect some short squeeze, but I would not hold it for long, given there is a high valuation attached to this stock. So next, let's look at Genmark Diagnostics, $24 stock here, did very well, 29% on a weekly basis. And in here, there's a positive thing. There's a good positive growth here, 22%. And there's a good gross margin. And short ratio is not, it's okay, it's not manageable. Insiders are buying it. So there is some room for this stock to grow. I would think, generally it's okay. And one thing I notice is really they're at a 52 week, almost 52 week high. Right here, they're high at this point. So might want to wait for it to cool down a little bit. As you scan through this, next thing is here, right here, fintech acquisition, FCTV. Looks like insiders are buying this stock, which is a good sign. And stock is down 18% from 52-week high. So I'm thinking this may be okay to nibble a little bit, given it's a low stock price. Insiders are buying it, and short ratio is really low, not a big deal. I think you can nibble a little bit here. And Kirkland's, this is one of the very good performer even last year. As you can see here, weekly 20%. On an annual basis, it's 3,647%. Low stock price, $29. There is a short ratio here, as you can see here. And insiders are buying it, so that will cause some short squeeze. So that's the main reason here. Their sales growth is a little bit negative on a past 5 years basis, but they got a good gross margin. So this, given a low dollar stock, this might go up a little bit given insiders are buying it, and there is a high short ratio. And next two are really USA Technologies and EOS Energy. I think both of these has got good insiders buying here, and short ratio is not too bad here. With the EOS Energy, there is 7% short ratio, but manageable. I think you can nibble these also. You can buy a little bit of these also and take it from there. Sangamo Therapeutics. This was a high flying stock a while ago. These guys do some of these COVID type vaccines, and they got a higher short ratio here, 13% short ratio. And insiders, they're selling it a little bit, but not too bad at all. Negative sales growth. So this also, I think it might get into some short squeeze type scenario, given there is a high short ratio here. Next is esports. I think this is around gambling, esport. Insiders are buying it, so it might go up because insiders are buying it, and it's also 28% down from 52-week high. Next is Curis, CRIS. Again, it's got a little bit higher short ratio. Insiders are buying it, so this might get into short squeeze type scenario. So it's got a good gross margin also. A little bit pricey from a valuation perspective. And next is MeMedix. This also very low stock price, $10.15. Looks like insiders are buying it, so could be a good scenario here. Let's go into small cap losers here. From a small cap losers, we had some regulatory setback, for this translate bio. They came pretty hard last week. I feel like, because stock price is so low, they're so much down last week because of this regulatory issues. These clinical stage biotechnology companies, they get into this FDA. I mean, the issues with the regulators, with the approval or rejection. So I would think it's okay to buy a little bit, given it's a short ratio is relatively low at this point. Price to sales ratio valuation is okay. Insiders are selling it, but I think probably now it's all played out with the stock being down. Next is Gilon Therapeutics. I think here also insiders are buying it, so it may be okay to buy a little bit, given insiders are buying it. Nurix, here there is a high short ratio. As you can see here, stock is down 36% from 52-week high. Generally, it came down. These type of scenarios, I think when the short ratio is high, stock has come down. It may be okay to nibble a little bit, so that way, it might, go up as, this float kind of winds down. Then you got Clean Spark. Insiders are, it's a good gross margin here, and it may be okay to nibble a little bit, given it came down so hard last week. And a valuation perspective, a little high but manageable. And a couple of these things, as you can see through here, frequency here, 20% short ratio, you got to watch out a little bit. And especially here, NKTRX, you got to watch out here, because high price to sales ratio, meaning high valuation here. So you got to watch out carefully. And Flexon, I think Flexion Therapeutics could be a good bet here, $10 stock, as you can see here. There is a short ratio here, 17%, which is a little bit higher side, but insiders are buying it. That will cause this stock to kind of go up and have a short squeeze, I would think. So that could be a good play. And these two here, these two stocks, ZNTL ORIC, they got a high short ratio. So I mean, sorry, insiders are selling it, and especially ORIC, Oric Pharma, I think it's got a high short ratio. We got to kind of think through high short ratio. Basically stock is coming down. These guys will make money. These short sellers will make money and get out. So that could be good for us to jump in if it goes down a little more. And same story with the last one here, CEL CVM. High short ratio, so we got to kind of maybe we have to watch out here. One thing I'm not too crazy about this is there is a high valuation to this, so that's why you got to be careful to buy this because of the high valuation. Next, let's jump into mid cap. From a mid cap perspective, clearly this new startup, Upstart Holding, they're into artificial intelligence based, credit check. I think they seem to be doing really nicely. 100% increase in last week, new startup. So I would watch out a little bit. At this point, looks like their RSI, relative strength index, is high, meaning it's overbought at this point. Insiders are selling a little bit, so this is typical of a new startup. High gross margin, and it's not too pricey, but because the stock is overbought at this point, I would wait for this to cool off a little bit. And as you can see here, Vericel, again, this stock has got RSI is high, which is overbought scenario. Insiders are selling it, but there's a good growth from a sales perspective, 5-year sales growth past 5 years, and good gross margin. I would probably buy a little bit of this, because this company is doing really nicely. They have multiple. They're into biotechnology a little bit. They do some burn, cure, sports medicine and whatnot. I think it could be good to nibble a little bit. AMC, as you can see, a high short ratio. Insiders are selling it. So stock has gone up so much. I'm a little bit, we have to watch. Maybe on a down day, if AMC comes down a little bit, it's okay. Or if you want to speculate and buy some, hoping these shorts will get squeezed, that could be okay too. Um, Olin, same story here. It's overbought at this point. I would watch carefully. RSI is high. Um, GoHealth, GOCO. I think this company has monthly it's down, on a yearly basis it's down. So I think that's why it's kind of trying to make its way back up, because it went down so much for the year. I would not worry too much about Rackspace here. It's one of these commodity type, cloud storage. The short ratio is high, so that's why there may be some play here for this to get some short squeeze. That's why you can nibble a little bit if you want to trade. And same story with next to ImmunityBio and Yalla group. Silvergate, it's an interesting stock. It's this is into bitcoins and whatnot. It's a bank, but it also carries Bitcoin. I would buy this on a weaker day. Today, this week it went up so much, but on a weekday, on a pullback, it's okay to buy this one. Grow generation, it's one of the marijuana, cannabis pick and shovels type play. I think this is a good stock, as you can see here. Very good past 5-year revenue growth, and gross margin is also good. Insiders are selling it, but generally on a down day, it's okay to buy grow generation. Luminar, I love Luminar stock. It's really trying to make a comeback here. Went down so badly last month or so, but it's a good stock. At home group, I think these guys came down so much. Now it's trying to go up a little bit. So, actually, this at home group is doing really nicely. Um, yeah, it's a little bit high at this point. I would watch a little bit. Um, let's go into others. Full genetics. It's again 10% up for the week. There is a high float here, and there is from a growth perspective, it's a good growth here, good gross margin. I think it's okay to nibble this one a little bit. And we'll with that we'll go into next one. This is really mid cap losers. From a mid cap losers perspective, as you can see here, some of these companies kind of went down pretty badly. 20% down, 20% down. Canon, which is into Bitcoin, again 20% down. And Maxar, it's one of my favorite companies, also came down a little bit last week. So I would, maybe, it's okay to nibble a little bit. Both Canon and Max are, given, these are relatively stabler stocks. Then you can watch here a couple of these stocks here. For example, ALX Oncology. This stock came down hard. I think they also got into some regulatory type issues. I think they also had some earnings or something along those lines. But stock really came down really bad. I would probably, one thing I would watch out for this one is really, even after the drop, it's got a high price to sales ratio. The valuation is really high, so I would really watch out for this one. C3.ai, it's basically Tom Siebel's company. He started Siebel a while ago. Stock is down so much. I would probably buy a little bit, being a contrarian, and play along. Next, if you look at some of these companies here, high short ratio, Chargepoint. I think it's a good battery technologies when it comes to EV, electric vehicles. It's a high float, and stock has come down 15% up. It If you're a contrarian, I think it's good to nibble or buy a little bit, given it's so much down. There may be some short squeeze as it goes up. Biohaven, it's one of my favorite stocks. So this has come down. I would probably buy a little bit here and take it from there. Um, Next is Ormat. Ormat looks like there is some insider buying, not too much, but it's maybe okay to nibble as insiders are buying it. And next is SunPower. SunPower, as you can see here, high short ratio, insiders are selling it. So you got to watch out a little bit. At some point, if stocks tries to go up, these insiders have to cover their shorts, and there'll be short squeeze scenario. So with that, let's go into large cap winners. As you can see here, these are all short large cap winners. We will not go through them in very detail, but at the high level, I would watch out for high short ratios as I showed here. You got to watch out these guys. As stock is going up with the high short ratio, that means these shorts will get squeezed and it might go further up. So that's one thing to watch out for. And you can also watch out for insiders. If insiders are selling heavily, you got to watch out. That may not be a good sign. And if you want to buy these stocks, always I look for the past revenue growth here and gross margin. If both are double digit positive, then there is a good play. This stock might go up. So that's you got to watch out for those two to make sure they are double digit positive. With that, let's look at large cap losers here. First one is GameStop. GameStop, you got to watch out. There is a earnings coming next week, so we got to watch out carefully. There is a high short ratio, and the Chewy's co-founder is on the board of directors, and he also bought around 12% or so GameStop stock itself. And these guys want to diversify and be into electronic or e-commerce and probably Bitcoin also. So we have to watch out for earnings. There may be some play here. These shorts might get squeezed after the earnings. That's a possibility. But if the earnings is really bad and they don't give very good guidance, then this stock can come down. So you got to be careful around earnings with GameStop. Plug Power, insiders are selling it, so you got to watch out a little bit. Future Holdings, high short ratio, but good gross margin. I like this stock. It's generally doing really nicely, but down so big for the week. For the month also it's down. You get the idea. Watch out for high short ratios, and these are potentially there is a chance that there could be a short squeeze type scenario. You got to watch out. But if you generally want to buy for longer term, watch out and make sure the revenue growth is double digit and even gross margin is double digit positive. So that's why some of these numbers here you have to watch out for. And long term buys should you should look at the revenue growth and gross margin. And also look for RSI, relative strength index. So if the relative strength index is going above say 70 or say even 60, you could watch out a little bit because it's a overbought type scenario. But if it is below 50, then you're okay. You're pretty safe zone. It has room to go up still. So I would watch out for RSI, relative strength index, and the 5-year revenue growth and gross margin. If you want to buy, look at those scenarios. Next, let's look at Megacap weekly winners. These are huge, big stocks. So as you can see here, clearly Facebook is doing nicely, 8% improvement last week. Home Depot also did nicely. So it's in the descending order of performance. These guys have done nicely. And same story here. I would watch out. There is no short ratio here. Everybody's doing okay. There is no short squeeze type scenario, but watch out for the RSI itself. things like Facebook, Home Depot, you could wait for a little bit cool off. But others here, for example, Alibaba, it has come down, drastically in 52-week high, 24% down. It's okay to buy a little bit of Alibaba. And some of these, for example, Intel with the new CEO, it seems to be doing nicely now. It could be okay. And Novartis, I'm not too sure about this one because I've been watching this stock. It has done nothing. Not too much progress here. I would probably wait on it. Um, Nvidia is also a good one. I think it's good revenue growth, good gross margin, and also if you look at RSI relative strength index, it's also telling me, it's below 50, so it's okay to buy. It's not in an overbought type scenario, and the valuation is also okay. It's 19, not too bad at all. Amazon and Adobe, same story. They're also pretty good here. Adobe, I think Adobe, there is a earnings coming next week. I think these are pretty good to buy a little bit. Now let's go into the mega cap losers. So these are the mega cap losers. We talked about energy, down 8%. ExxonMobil, you got to be a little careful here. The industry trend is really into EVs, the electric vehicles, and natural solar. So I think we got to be careful with these fossil fuels. Visa, it's an interesting one. I think they had some Department of Justice probe them for some of their debt practices. I'm comfortable with this. It's down 9% from its 52-week high. And as you can see, your RSI stocks sold off. It's 39. It's oversold territory right now. Getting into oversold territory. Good valuation, good revenue growth, and gross margin. I think it's okay to be contrarian and buy some Visa as it came down, drastically. And same is the story with Mastercard. I think Mastercard is also okay to buy. They are 8% down from 52-week high. These guys are also 43, 46% RSI, meaning it's not in an overbought territory at this point. I think it's okay to buy. Tesla, it's, I think insiders are selling it a little bit. I would watch out for this one. But Tesla, anytime it's down badly, I would add a little bit. It's okay to buy a little bit at time. And then as you scan through this, I would watch out. Same story. Look for RSI. Make sure RSI is below 50 or so if you want to buy, and make sure the revenue growth and gross margin are double-digit positive. And PS ratio, the valuation is not super high. In this case, valuations is okay. These are mega cap, stocks. So, with that, to summarize, to conclude, by looking at this whole small cap, mid cap, large cap, mega cap, this is a summary that we can buy a little bit. Starting with the top, I will not cover this in detail. Vuzix, as you can see here, RSI is a little high. I would watch out when the RSI is a little bit higher. I think the reason I selected this is because there's insiders buying, and there is also good. There is in this case there's a short ratio, so you got to watch out. Whenever there's a short ratio, watch out a little bit carefully, especially with the high valuation or PS ratio. So in general, I feel these stocks, it's okay to buy a little bit and clearly watch out and add to position as stock goes down. With that, thank you very much. Have a very good weekend, and happy investing next week. Thank you.